Tonight we have special guests covering what really happened in 1990s. I'm your host Bobby Dre and I'm here on the History Channel. We have Ashraf Azmal here.
Good evening.
Can you please explain to us the relations between Canada and the US in the 1990s?
Well, you see, Canada and the US, they had different emotions for each other. Well, sometimes they really respected each other and admired each other, while other times they got irritated and had suspicions, like what were they up to. And some Canadians claim that Canada was jealous of America.
Can you tell us why?
Well, because America was better in the 1990s. Better economy, better culture, and also because of an ongoing rivalry between the two countries.
How did the Canadian government stop the Canadian culture to be like the American culture?
Well, the government started noticing that the Canadian culture was turning into American culture. So he told the CRTC to lower American content on radios and TV broadcasts.
Can you tell us about Canadian businesses against American businesses?
Well, Canadian businesses were struggling to stay up to American businesses, while American businesses were booming in the 1990s. And well, when Canadian companies started having competition with American companies, some Canadian companies had to close down. It was sad. But all that aside, Canadians are neighbors, and they really have respect for each other and like each other, and they trade with each other a lot. So they have to stay connected.
Topic technology. Can you explain to us how the technology was back in 1990?
Well, technology was very cool back in the 1990s. One of the most significant things came out, and we still use it today. You know what it is?
I'm not sure. Can you tell me?
The internet. The internet came out, and they used to chat online, order products, research, everything we do today.
But of course they didn't have like other social media websites, for example, Facebook or Twitter.
No, they never. And it was not that good because it just came out, so yeah.
Alright, so what other technology was growing very fast and how is it relevant to today?
Well, computer technology was very relevant and it was growing very fast because of the internet. Like the homepage and other things, useful things that we use today were all born in 1990.
Cool. Any other technology?
Oh yeah, the microprocessors also came out and they helped debit machines. The phone pages came out and helped us stay connected. And also DVDs came out in HD. So yeah.
Cool. Were there any people who were against the growing technology? And if so, what did they say? What was their argument?
Yeah, there was a lot of critics. Well, they said that there was a lot of downsides to technology. They said that people are going to lose their jobs. We're not going to feel the reality like on TV. Like we could see people getting bombed. We're not going to feel their pain. Also, they said people could use it badly for like sex or for bullying. And also, people could make wrong web pages.
Yeah,
like,
for example, like
racism and
for example, like movie websites which pirate
like
movies and stuff.
Yeah. So
alright, thank you for sharing.
More.
Thank you for sharing the technology improvement and the relations between Canada and the US. Now we have Thomas here to discuss two important things that took place in Quebec, the Oka confrontation and the Quebec referendum.
So let's start off with the Oka confrontation that happened on July 11, 1990 and lasted 78 days until September 26, 1990.
Can you please elaborate what happened in the Oka confrontation?
The Oka confrontation was a crisis that involved the Mohawks, Kanawak, and the Awasane Aboriginal groups. The village of Oka wanted to expand their 9-hole golf course into an 18-hole golf course and also put some condos there. The expansion area was claimed to be a sacred burial ground for the Mohawks.
So what did the Mohawks do to protect their sacred ground?
The Mohawks then took action and barricaded the expansion area. At this point, the Kanawak and Awasane Aboriginal groups also joined in the protests. In the morning of July 11th, the provincial police of Quebec, Sûreté de Quebec, tried to break through the blockade, but failed. One of the police lost his life, so the police retreated. It was clear that the police could not resolve the protests, so the RCMP and the army was requested to come in, by the Premier of Quebec, Robert Bourassa.
So what did the army really do to resolve the protests?
Well, yes, the army was indeed involved. On August 20th, 800 soldiers of the Royal 22nd Regiment came in and replaced the provincial police. With all the soldiers and an aircraft watching the protesters, it got them pressured. And on August 29th, 9 days later, the negotiations ended the blockade of the Mercier Bridge. And then on September 26th, the protesters surrendered to the army.
All right, thank you. On to our next topic, the Quebec referendum. Can you please explain what happened during that period of time?
The Quebec referendum happened in the year of 1995, and the party elected was the Parti Québécois, and the leader was Jacques Parizeau. He and his party was in favor of another referendum, which means to separate from the country, and in this case, Canada.
Why did the Federalists not support the referendum?
The reason why the Federalists did not support the referendum were that they claimed that the economy would not survive if they separated. One of the other reasons were Aboriginal people, especially the Cree, were uncertain if they could still stay in Canada if separated. And on October 27, a few days before, from the vote, nearly 100,000 Canadians gathered in Montreal to create a unity rally for French Canadians to vote no. The Prime Minister at the time was Chien, and he was also there to give a speech.
Interesting. So why did the separatists support separatism?
They announced to keep the Canadian currency in Quebec, but that was thought, of course, an illogical idea. Some of the supporters were mad at Canada's constitutional change to make it effective, and to separate from Canada was the solution.
Cool. Result of the vote.
The vote happened on October 30th, 1995. 49.4% voted yes, and 50.58% voted no. Many of the yes came from Francophone areas, which were the areas that people spoke French, and many of the no's came from Anglophone areas, which were the areas that people spoke English. It was suspected that there were spoiled ballots in Anglophone areas, but nobody was charged of illegal election tampering. After the referendum defeat, the Premier resigned the next day.
Yeah, of course he would resign of all the embarrassment and stuff.
Yeah.
Alright, thanks man. Thanks for your time here.
No problem.
Alright, that's it, guys. Peace out. Now we'll be taking a quick break and we'll be back after the commercial. Thank you.
Tyler, have you tried these Doritos loaded yet?
What?
I haven't even seen these before.
Well,
What do you think?
The nacho cheese snack for the bold. Doritos loaded. Get them at 7-Eleven and only at 7-Eleven.
Welcome back, and you're here with me, Bobby Dre, and you're on the History Channel. A special guest joining us. We have the Secretary of Kim Campbell, Miss Brittany. You're already here. Welcome. Please have a seat, please.
Thank you.
All right. So, can you please enlighten us with the biography of Kim Campbell?
Sure. So she was born on March 10, 1947 in Port Alberni, British Columbia. And I heard before, when she was a little kid, around 16, she became the first female student body president in her high school. And 30 years later, as the 19th Prime Minister of Canada at the age of 46. Miss Campbell has spent much of her life breaking barriers for women.
So, what do you think Miss Campbell did to enhance women's rights today?
Well, people look up to her as when she became the first Prime Minister of Canada, the first female Prime Minister of Canada. People really looked up to her, they were shocked, and then she influenced and made women feel to be brave, and she was kind to them.
Of course, because she's the first female prime minister, right? So
Yeah.
she probably inspired a lot of young women to have high dreams and stuff, right?
Of course, of course.
So on to the next question. What did she do before becoming the Prime Minister?
Well, before becoming Prime Minister, Miss Campbell was the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada from 1990 to 1993.
Interesting, interesting. Can you tell us about the appointment in the election? Opponent in the election, sorry?
Oh, right, yeah. Well, King Campbell's opponents were clearly right in pushing for early debates. When Campbell gave a lackluster performance in the first two debates, one of the opponents named Charles suddenly became a credible candidate. Although Campbell did much better in the third debate, she was loosening the strings of her handlers and the doubts have been sown. But she was able to expand her abilities to turn the election around and win it.
Wow, she must feel very proud after that. Alright, can you tell us what you feel and think about Miss Campbell?
Well, as her secretary for a very long time, I know she's a really great lady. Ever since she became Prime Minister, she trusted me, she inspired me to become a wonderful woman. And
I bet she did, I bet she did.
yeah, and then she was like very kind to me.
Special guest coming in with the name of Dave Skylar.
Hey.
Welcome, man, welcome. What's up, buddy?
What's up, yo?
Alright, so who are you going to be talking about?
Roberta Bonda, of course.
Alright, so can you explain to us watching out there, basic knowledge we should know about her?
Well, I'll tell you this. She was born in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada.
Cool. So when did she dream about being an astronaut?
Well, Roberta, when she was 8 years old, she dreamed of being an astronaut.
Cool. So can you tell us about her first two missions?
Well, in the early 1900s, she was designed a prime polar specialist for the first international microgravity laboratory, which is called Mission 1ML-1.
Interesting. So you're a good friend of hers, right?
Yeah.
So you must know a lot about her. So can you tell us a couple of hobbies of hers?
Well, Roberta has a certification in scuba diving, parachuting, and holds a private pilot's license.
So she lived basically the life,
Yeah, no lie.
going around the world, enjoying it, right?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So can you tell us, what do you think about her?
Well, me as her best friend, we do lots of stuff together. She always told me she wants to be an astronaut, and one day, me and her alone will go up there,
Cool.
explore space.
Alright, man, let's hope that happens one day.
Yeah.
This is the History Channel at 6. Today, an analyst and slash consumer, Manib, will be joining us to talk about tax.
Good evening.
So what is tax?
Tax is basically an additional cost to all you're consuming, which helps out the government, help out you. So basically, it goes in a circle. The rich people pay money to the government off all their consuming, and the government just redistributes it to all the people who really need it.
Oh, I see. And this is the GST?
Yes, GST. It was introduced in 1990 on January 24th. A person by the name Brian
Mulroney, right?
Mulroney. He was the Prime Minister of Canada at the time. He thought it would help out businesses, expand and stuff like that. So that's why I introduced it. And that's why today we have GST.
When was this GST put into effect?
It started off in the 1990s and later on was introduced, and then now it's completely into play.
Oh, I see. Very nice.
Alright, thank you, man.
And as a consumer, what do you think about tax?
As a consumer, I think it's a good way to help out the people who really need it.
Okay, now on to our next topic is Aboriginal people's self-government. So, Minnie, can you explain what self-government?
Alright. So, the long history of Canada and the culture of Canada, it has a lot to do with the Aboriginal people. Aboriginal people create the national identity of Canadians, but also shape our society and economic well-being, fostering good government and strong accountability in our Aboriginal government.
Oh, I see. So, how many treaties did Canada sign and with the Aboriginal people?
In collaboration with the negotiation partners, Canada now has signed a total of 21 treaties with the Aboriginal people.
And this is about self-government, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's all for us right now, and see you later.
We're signing out. Hope all of you out there enjoyed our program. Have a good night.
Look at Thomas, guys.
No, Thomas, how
Put
do
this,
you wear?
put this in the bloopers, dog. Still.
I will still.
Thomas, how do you wear?
You look cute.
No,
Alright, Keisha,
you have
put
to
it
say
on.
your part.
Wow.
Put it on.
All
Put it on.
you wear, you look
Put it on for
He's
you.
winning to Keisha.
Oh my god.
Look at his bowl.
Put your head straight.
Look at Keisha.
Do it. Hold on, let me fix it.
It looks so gay.
You look so cute. Don't move, don't move.
Oh my god. Where's the camera? Oh shit.
Now we have Thomas here with us to discuss the two important things that took place in Quebec, the Oka confrontation and the Quebec referendum.
Let's start off with the Oka confrontation that happened on July 11, 1990. And
We're back.
What? What? I'm good right here. Blooper.